Well, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Nice to see you. And certainly want to thank everybody for attending here today. Let's start out with some roll call, Amy.
President Callicott.
Here.
Commissioner Milnarski.
Present.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Brickley.
Present.
Commissioner Hendricks is absent today.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda?
Yes, Madam President, we have one comment. Sean Kelly.
Yes.
Good morning. This is my first time coming to your water board, so thank you for having me today. I did come to a prior meeting for the water board with the rates, and I spoke at that one. Also, I was speaking about a possible senior discount for the water rates, like Burtech has. I've been told today that it's being under consideration right now, which I do appreciate all the work and the help with it. And they're just working out the parameters of the charges and how it's going to be enforced. Basically, I was just coming to ask about a senior discount, and if it comes before the board, I would appreciate if the board takes a look at it and does vote for it, because as being a senior on a fixed income, the water is going up again, and my basic bill is like $90 to $100 a month right now, and it's really cutting into my other stuff that I have to pay for. So any kind of help that you guys can give, I really appreciate. And thank you again for letting me speak this morning. Thank you.
Is that okay? Do you want to comment on it?
It is something we're working on, Madam President. We do have a low-income assistance program. The senior one was brought up, like was mentioned, and it's something that our customer service is looking at, surveying different agencies to see what they do and trying to see if we can figure out, we can find some good parameters around a program like that for seniors.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And is there any items that are not on the agenda, Amy?
We don't have any comments on items on the agenda.
Okay.
Right?
We move to the consent calendar. Is there any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Those have been made. Very good. All right.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We got it. We got it. Okay, we got it. Okay.
President Callicott.
You did what?
President Callicott, we're going to proceed with a roll call vote on that.
Well, I'm having a hard time
Roll
hearing.
call. You got to do roll call.
Yeah, okay. So let's do roll call.
President Callicott.
Here.
Commissioner Milnarski.
Approve.
Commissioner Johnson.
Approve.
Commissioner Brickley.
Approve.
Motion carries 4-0.
Okay. Is there anything else on the consent calendar we need to do?
Public hearing, I think, huh?
Pardon me?
I said, we just go to the public hearing.
Okay, all right, good, okay. All right, so we're all finished with the consent calendar. That's it, all right. Well then, let's go into our public hearing. And I'm looking out and see who all we have here with us. So welcome and good morning, everyone. I want to thank all of you for attending this public hearing. This is the time and place for the public hearing on the following action. Agenda item number 5, which recommends adjustment of the City of San Bernardino Municipal Water Department and wastewater service rates. This would include a proposed schedule of changes to the Water Department's water and wastewater rates and charges over 5 fiscal years, commencing with upcoming fiscal year 26 and 27. If any members of the public wish to speak during the public hearing, please fill out the speaker comment cards, which are available from our staff members at the back of the room next to today's agenda. Before I open the public hearing, I'd like to ask staff to inform the Water Board as to whether all valid legal objections have been addressed.
Yes, Madam President, all valid legal objections have been responded to, and all objections and responses have been presented to the Water Board attached to the board meeting packet.
Okay. Okay, so in light of this information, then I'd like to ask for a motion and second to adopt a resolution making, findings and determinations regarding objections to proposed water and wastewater rates. Is there a motion?
The rest of it to read or no?
No.
I'll make the motion.
You make motion, okay?
I'll second.
All right, and all in favor, let's take a tally.
President Kelicott,
Approve?
Commissioner Milnarski,
Approve.
Commissioner Johnson,
Approve.
Commissioner Brickley.
Approve.
Motion carries 4-0.
Very good, thank you. Now I'd like to call upon the Department's General Manager, Miguel, and Director of Finance, Cynthia, to introduce the proposed changes in rates and the rate analysis.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Cynthia Mauser and I have a presentation to provide some information on the proposed rate adjustments. I'll start and give a little bit of background on the Water Department, and then I'll hand it over to Ms. Mauser to give us the details on the proposed adjustments. So, we do have a presentation. I first want to give a little bit of background of department's organizational structure. The department is overseen and managed per the charter by the Water Board. City Water Board is appointed by the mayor and council. So this organizational structure kind of gives you a feel for how the Water Department is structured, how it fits under the city and mayor and council. Within the Water Department, of course, as the general manager overseeing operations and managing the department overall, there are other directors. We have a wastewater director, drinking water director, environmental regulatory compliance, finance, and our assistant general manager handling administrative functions. So on the water utility side, the water utility itself, it consists of a service area that serves approximately 80% of the city. The rest of the city over on the east end is actually served by East Valley Water District. Service area itself is nearly 60 square miles. 100% of our water comes from the Bunker Hill groundwater basin, and we utilize 51 active groundwater wells to draw from this groundwater basin and serve the community. There are over 45,000 service connections on the water utility side, and over 750 miles of water mains and several reservoirs and pump stations that allow us to move water across the service area. Now on the wastewater side, there are two components to that. The first one is the sewer collection system. The sewer collection system nearly mirrors the drinking water service area, where we serve 80% of the city, the rest served by East Valley Water District. Here we have less connections on the water side, because typically on the water side, a single parcel could have multiple. It could have irrigation, it could have domestic, it could have fire. You typically only one sewer connection. So we have over 35,000 sewer connections, nearly 500 miles of sewer mains, thousands of maintenance holes, and several small lift stations across the service area, and 3 large lift stations located near the wastewater reclamation plant to give it that final lift to get it through the water treatment process, which is the second component on the wastewater side. At the wastewater side, we own and operate the water reclamation plant located in the city. It's right next to the animal shelter in the south end of town. Here we treat wastewater from the city of San Bernardino, county areas, and the city of Loma Linda. Treat approximately 16 million gallons per day at the water reclamation plant. There we treat it to secondary standards, so it's not quite ready to be released into the environment. So from that plant, we then convey it over to our rapid infiltration and extraction facility, our RIX facility, which is located in the city of Colton. It's actually co-owned with the city of Colton. There we send our secondary effluent, and along the way we pick up secondary effluent from the cities of Colton and Grand Terrace. And at the RIX facility, we treat 22 million gallons per day, and we treat it to tertiary standards. That involves a natural filtration process and UV disinfection. And at that point, it's ready to be discharged into the environment. And at that same location, we discharge into the Santa Ana River. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments, key accomplishments in the water department since the last time we discussed rate adjustments. Also want to talk about some of the challenges impacting what we're proposing to do with rates today. On the accomplishment side, we've replaced over 45,000 feet of water lines. We've rehabbed 20 groundwater wells, and I mentioned earlier we have 51 groundwater wells overall, so that's a significant chunk of our overall number of wells. We seismically retrofitted 8 steel reservoirs, 2 concrete reservoirs for a total of about 35 million gallons in storage capacity, which is critical, especially in the foothill areas where we encounter wildfire and fire hazards, high winds and all that. We also implemented phase 1 of our automated meter infrastructure, which included nearly 1/3 of our services. So your smart meters that allow the department and also the customer to understand and instantly view water usage, understand or be notified if there are leaks. It's a big deal for the water department to understand that, to minimize water losses, but also for the customer to conserve and use water efficiently. On the wastewater side, we started recycling water in September of 2025. We can produce up to 2.5 million gallons of recycled water. Most of that, or all of that, is currently being used at our water reclamation plant, where we have a demand of upwards of 1.2 million gallons per day. We also had 2 major projects on the wastewater side that involved our largest siphon that is near the wastewater plant. It crosses the East Twin Creek. And we also had emergency sludge drying beds that were constructed at the wastewater plant. Just overall, when the water department, we also completed or have nearly completed, or actually scheduled to move in June, we completed the first phase of the water utility relocation project, which involves a new administrative building located at the corner of E and Chandler. So some of the challenges that impacted and contribute to proposed rate adjustments include water quality, mainly PFAS, the forever chemical, and dealing with that. But there are also other strict regulatory requirements that are costly. We have air quality permits, discharge permits, clean water related permits, endangered species related permits with the 8CP, and other EPA regulations. We also have focused heavily on water supply reliability by establishing recycled water, but also working with our partners, Valley District and others in the basin, to ensure long-term sustainability of the Bunker Hill groundwater basin. Aging infrastructure, of course, not unique to the water department. The issue with aging infrastructure is one that all water suppliers and wastewater providers deal with. We have some water mains in our system that are over 100 years old, holding up very well, by the way, but still, it gives you an idea how much work we need to do to address the aging infrastructure. On the wastewater side, we have a water reclamation plant that was built in the 1950s. So there are several components of that plant that have gone beyond the useful life, and we need to focus on and replace pretty soon, with the next being the digesters. And then, of course, rising costs in labor, material, equipment, construction. Especially in the last 5 years, we've seen a significant increase, and that, of course, impacts rates. So I will now hand it over to Ms. Mauser, and she'll give us some more details on the numbers and the proposed adjustments.
Yeah, Miguel, before you do that,
Of course.
Could you remind me or footnote, when did the department take over the wastewater system from the city? How many years has that been?
It's been nearly 10 years. It was in 2017. And since then, with the sewer collection system, used to be managed by the Public Works. With the new city charter, through that whole process, it was transferred over to the water department along with the rate setting authority. Before 2017 or 2016, when the charter was revised, the wastewater side, the wastewater rates were actually approved by the city council. The new charter changed that. But since then, on the sewer collection side, we've developed a master plan, sewer system maintenance program, and it's in much better shape today than it was then. We used to average double-digit spills. We've gone 12 months in recent years without a single spill. So it's a major kudos to our sewer collection folks and the director for accomplishing that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like 10 years, but it's gone by quickly. And I remember when the city was going through its kind of reorganization and some other issues, that the water department stepped up and was able to, help work with the city. And I remember some board meetings where we first approved to camera the entire system. The system hadn't been really evaluated for quite a long time.
Well,
And
that was a big one.
I know that was a heavy lift. And like you said, with some of those leakage issues that were occurring, it used to be kind of like management by crisis. But I really remember all the hard work that staff put into actually understanding what that system really consisted of, and then getting us to where we are today.
And then making it work like it does today.
Yeah,
is terrific.
but the bills, I remember the bills used to be separate, right? We used to get one bill from the city for the sewer costs, and then we used to get the traditional water bill. And now, obviously, today it's combined into one bill. But yeah, I just, it seems like yesterday, but it's been 10 years. So
Yeah, it's gone by quick, but it's worked out really well.
Yeah.
We're able, under Public Works, there's competing priorities, competing costs there with us. With the Water Department, we focus on the utility. We're able to.
But sorry, Cindy.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Cynthia?
Thank you. Thank you, Miguel. I'm going to go over the proposed water rates. Before we dive in, I want to just talk a little bit about the process that we go through to get to looking at revenue adjustments and things like that. So the department goes out and does a competitive process to hire a firm, a consulting firm that specializes in rates. Because we do this once about every 5 years, we want to have confidence in the process, so we use a consultant. So the consultant comes in and helps us put together a financial plan for all of our funds and all the rates that are being proposed. So we put this financial plan together, and we provide the consultant all of our financial information and a lot of our information about water and sewer, and they do a cost of service study for us, which you guys remember approving. And through that process, they come up with what our rates should be through what revenue requirements are needed in order for us to sustain operational and construction costs over the next 5 years for both of our funds. So with that, we want to look at what the key drivers, I'm going to start with water, for our water rate increases. So Miguel touched on it. We're talking about increased costs. Costs have gone up significantly over the last 4 years. When we do our financial plan, we do look at a CPI adjustment. And for our operating expenses, over the last 4 years, average inflation has been about 4.4% annually. In our models, in our financial models that we use, we only assumed 2.5%. And then we also have to look at our construction costs, which also have increased. So we also look at about $17 million annually in the financial plan on the water side, and that's in accordance with our water master plan. And then taking that into consideration with those costs, we use that, and that is where we get to our revenue requirements and what we need annually to make sure we can cover those costs. So on the water side, for fiscal years 27 through fiscal year 30, we're looking, we need about 6.25% increase in our rates. And for fiscal year 31, it's 5%. Now again, we talk about that financial plan. So in that financial plan, we do go through multiple scenarios to make sure we can come up with the most reasonable revenue requirements. And so part of that is looking at things like issuing debt. So on the water side, we do plan over the next 5 years to issue debt in the amount of about $35 million, and that's to help fund our water capital infrastructure needs. So by issuing debt, we are able to lower those revenue requirements. So without issuing debt, we were looking at potential double digits, like 10 to 15%. So like I said, we use a consultant to help us with that process, and so we can come up with reasonable adjustments. This is just a graphic to give you an idea of what the water enterprise is spending money on. So most of it's operational. So 29% of the water fund revenue goes towards treatment. 25% goes towards capital improvement, 28% towards customer service and administration, 14% operations and delivery, and then the water fund does have existing debt, and 4% goes towards its existing debt. And this is just to highlight some of those capital projects that are put into that 5-year financial plan. So looking at doing the Newmark Reservoir seismic upgrade. There's Skater Master Plan projects over the next 5 years, Mountain Zone Pump Station upgrade, and we're going to do the second phase of AMI. As Miguel mentioned, we've currently completed the first phase.
Remind me what SCADA stands for.
SCADA. I'm going to need help.
Supervisory control and data acquisition.
Key stuff?
It's the ability for the computer or the operators to control all of the elements in the treatment plant and in the water system remotely from the computer.
I remember that motion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So here we just want to talk about what the water rate consists of. So there's two components to the water rate. There's a fixed monthly meter service charge, and this charge is designed to recover fixed costs, so costs that don't vary based off the quantity of water delivered. So like, I'm going blank on examples of fixed costs, sorry, but you understand what I'm saying. So the monthly meter service charge, it's established based off the size of the meter. So the bigger the meter, the more volume of water goes through, the more expensive it is. 85% of our customers, though, have a 5/8" meter. So that's all of our residential customers. The other component of the water charge is the volumetric charge or the commodity charge, and this is based on the amount of water that is used. So that's that per HCF charge. This charge is designed to cover costs that are variable. So like electricity, the more electricity is used, the more water that's being produced. We do size our water system to meet like a max demand. So the system is sized to allow for the maximum volume of water to travel through it. And we also are using tiered rates as a way to encourage water use efficiency and equity amongst customers. So for the smaller volume of water you use, you pay less. Larger amount of volume you use, as it goes up, you pay more. So we're first going to look at our proposed fixed monthly charge. So you'll see on the left of the chart, the water meter size. So like I was saying, based off the size of the meter is based off the charge. The larger the meter, the larger the charge. You can see our existing fiscal year 26 rates. So those are the rates that we're currently charging. And then on the right, you see the proposed rates for fiscal years 27 through 31. So just going across from fiscal year 27 to 30, that goes up by 6.25% each year. And then for fiscal year 31, it's increased by 5%. Any questions on the fixed charge?
It's going up how much every year?
So in fiscal years 27 through 30, it goes up 6.25%, and then in fiscal year 31, it goes up 5%.
Not per year, overall, 6.25.
Each year, it'll go up 6.25. So when you go to fiscal year 28, that's 6.25% more than fiscal year 27.
I was being too optimistic, wasn't I?
Yeah.
But thank you.
And this is the proposed commodity charge. So this is that variable charge I was talking about that is based off of each unit of water used. That's measured in HCF. So you can see, based off the customer class, single-family residential is charged at tiered rate. And there's, based off the water volume, Tier 1 is 0 through 13 HCF, Tier 2 is 14 through 23 HCF, and then anything above 23 HCF is that Tier 3. Our multifamily, commercial, irrigation, institutional, and other customers are charged a uniform flat rate. And these rates also go up the 6.25% from fiscal year 27 to 30, and then 5% over in fiscal year 31.
And then what's that acronym, HCF?
So it's 100 cubic feet. It's the volume that water's measured in. It's 748 gallons. That's easier to,
Thank you.
yeah. So these are some additional rates that we are proposing. Geothermal is not a new rate. We have an existing geothermal rate. Our geothermal water system provides naturally heated water to a limited number of customers, and it's only 3 customers actually at this point. The water provided by the system is not suitable for drinking, and we don't treat it. It's strictly used to heat, for the heat element of it. The rates associated with this system, they have not been updated since the early 90s, so it's quite low right now. And then the old geothermal rate used to include a component related to the heat provided by the water, and we are no longer including that component in the current proposed rate. We also are going to introduce a wholesale rate. So we do not currently have a wholesale rate. These rates are developed to provide or sell water to our neighboring agencies. So we have agencies surrounding us that border our service territory that have connections, existing connections through interties to our water system. And so this wholesale rate is designed because it excludes costs like customer service or distribution that we're just providing the water. We're not providing those other services to them. So we developed this rate that more represents what it costs to provide those agencies with that water. And wholesale rates are not subject to the Prop 218 process. Any question about geothermal or wholesale?
Yeah, I'd just like to footnote the fact that these other customers, agencies, are aware of this proposed action, and they've been provided information, and they have also taken this information back to their legislative authorities for consideration, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, they are aware of it, and for most of the neighboring agencies that we provide emergency interties and water supply, the rates will actually go slightly down, just because it's a true
The wholesale
rate.
yeah, I understand the wholesale is different than retail, but
That's right. So
we've never had this rate before either, so,
right.
yeah.
So they're aware of it. There will be upcoming agreements that we may have to revise.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And here's the rates. So you can see the top one is the geothermal, and it's a per HCF charge. Right now, it is 44 cents per HCF. It will go up to $5.37 based off of what it's currently costing us to operate the geothermal system. And then those rate increases will be applied the same way they've applied to the other water rates, so the 6.25% for fiscal years 27 through 30, and then 5% for fiscal year 31. So on the wholesale side, it's a per acre foot charge. So an acre foot is 435.6 HCF. It's just a larger volume of water. And so on for the wholesale rate, we're going to start with $606.39 per acre foot, and then it'll receive the same increases of the 6.25% and then the 5% in fiscal year 31. Yeah.
Can you give an example what a surrounding agency would want that for? Would want to use our water from the Bunker Hill
Yeah.
Basin? Is that their?
Yeah, I'll give you a good recent example. The city of Loma Linda. City of Loma Linda had a lightning strike at one of their sites, and it put one of their wells out of service for months. And they needed additional supply, and we have an emergency interconnection with them. So they called on that connection, called us and asked if we can provide them a water supply for a few months, and we did. So that's an example of one. We have these emergency interties with all their surrounding neighbors: East Valley, Colton, Loma Linda, West Valley, Rialto. So DeVore as well. Yeah.
And we have reciprocal?
We do. If we need it, we typically don't. We happen to be positioned in a place in the basin, especially with our 50-plus groundwater wells, where we typically don't have to call on emergency water. But we do have that ability with these intertests.
And do we know what those rates are? Are they?
It's established, they're established rates through agreements, and I don't have the agreements in front of me,
That's okay, I
but we
just
do.
wanted to make
Yeah,
sure. All right, thanks for explaining that.
of course.
These are proposed fire service rates. So these are private fire connections for businesses, and it's, again, based off of the meter size. And so you can see the existing rates there and the proposed rates for the next 5 fiscal years, and it follows the same increases with the 6.25% and then that last year of a 5% increase. So this is giving an idea of what the impact is for residential customers with a 5/8 inch meter. That is, like I said, that is what most of our residential customers have. And so you can see at a current bill at 7 HCF usage, which is just in Tier 1, the current bill is $35.17, and with the proposed rates, the bill would be $40.63 for an increase of $5.46. And that's both, like I said, both components. That's the fixed and the variable charge. The average use for a residential customer is 15 HCF. And so at 15 HCF, those customers will see an increase of $6.38 to their bills. And then if you are a higher user at 25 HCF, which would put you into Tier 3, you'll see an increase of $8.16 on your bill. And this is a comparative slide of how we compare with those neighboring agencies and other agencies around us. So you can see for our water rates, this is again using a bill with a 5/8 inch meter and an average use of 15 HCF. And so we took those metrics and used that to calculate the rates from all the other agencies as well. So you can see where we are, the green bar is what we're currently charging, and then the blue one is what the proposed rate adjustments are. So we are on the lower end as compared to our other agencies around us. Some of that is also based on the fact that other agencies have different water sources, so they may pay for imported water or things like that, so it affects the rates, their rates as well. But we are fortunate we are on the lower side there. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the sewer rates. Again, keeping in mind, went through the same process with the consultant and everything out with the financial plans on the sewer side as well. And sewer has similar things as water, where we're seeing increased costs over the years. Sewer is, we are proposing about $18.4 million annually for their capital plan, and again, that's in accordance with their sewer treatment and sewer collection master plans. And the same thing on the sewer side, we've seen inflation over the last 4 years annually at about 4.4%, and in the models, we only assume 2.5% inflation. So this has come to the required annual rate revenue for increases on the wastewater side. So we're proposing for fiscal year 27 and 28, there would be a 7% increase. For it's through fiscal year 29. Fiscal year 30 would be 6%, and fiscal year 31 would be 5%. And on the sewer side, we would also issue debt in the amount of $30 million bonds to help cover construction and capital project costs. And this is that same dollar. On the sewer side, 42% of sewers money is spent on the treatment process, 28% spent on capital improvement, 23% on customer service and administration, 4% on operations and delivery, and they also have existing debt, and about 3% is spent on existing debt. Some major sewer CIP projects that are projected in the 5-year plan, WRP electrical resiliency. There is a plan for Meridian Lift Station, and then Digester B at $43 million. So these are the proposed fixed sewer rates for San Bernardino. I think you remember Miguel mentioned we also do treatment for the city of Loma Linda. So this is strictly for our San Bernardino residents. So you will see that we have our customer classes here, so residential and multifamily. Residential and multifamily 2 and 3 units only pay a fixed rate. They do not pay a variable charge. We have an existing charge for single-family residential at $52.30, and the proposed new rate will be $54.05. And then you will see those increases applied the same as we did to water, different percentages. So for fiscal year 27 through 29, it'll be 7% increases. Fiscal year 2030 would be 6%, and 31 would be 5%. You can also see on the sewer side, there are different customer classes based off of the strength that they discharge into the system. And so you see low strength, medium strength, and high strength. So it takes into consideration the type of business, or in this case, there's also multifamily, 4 or more units, or mobile home parks, of what they put into the sewer treatment plant. These are the fixed charges associated for those customers as well. And so this is just their fixed charge. The percentages are applied the same to them, with the 7% for the first 3 years, 6% in fiscal year 30, and 5% in fiscal year 31. So this is the proposed variable sewer rate. Again, residential and multifamily 2 and 3 units do not pay a variable rate. And so, but our other customer classes do. So that low strength, medium strength, and high strength, they all pay a per HCF charge. That means this charge is based off of their water usage. So the low strength is at $2.84 per HCF, medium's at $4.28, and our high strength is $8.52 that we're proposing to go to. And again, the percentages will be applied the same way. For the first 3 years, the 7%, 6% in fiscal year 30, and 5% in fiscal year 31. We also have domestic liquid waste, and that's also a variable rate per gallon, is again receiving the same increases. And then we have our industrial customers. Our industrial customers, their discharge into the sewer system is actually measured with a meter. So there is a flow meter, and then there is sampling done to measure their biochemical oxygen demand, their BOD, and then total suspended solids. And so that is a sampling process that's done through the lab to look at those levels. There's only about 10 to 15 industrial customers. We don't have a lot of them, but they discharge heavily into the system. And you can see their rates there, and again, the same percentage increases will apply to them. Any questions on the variable rate? So this is the proposed fixed rates for the city of Loma Linda. So you will see, one, it does look like it is they are charged considerably less than what we charge our customers. It's because we only charge Loma Linda for treatment, so they are not paying for collection. They have their own collection system, and the city charges their residents for collection through their billing. So you can see with Loma Linda, like I said, it's the same rate structure. So residential, multifamily 2 and 3 pay a fixed charge, and they have the same categories with low, medium, and high strength non-residential customers. And the same percentage increases will apply to their fixed charges as well. And here's their variable rates. So again, exact same structure. Their residential and multifamily 2 and 3 units do not pay a variable charge, and then all of their non-residential customers do, based off of water usage. And then, again, same percentage increases apply here as well. And so this is a comparison for our surrounding agencies of how we compare on the sewer side. So on the sewer side, you can see, again, the current rate is in the green bar, and the blue bar is what the proposed rate is. So we're in the middle, kind of on the high end. One thing to note on the sewer side, though, you will see from that 47.72 to about that 55.40. So there's about 8 agencies all next to each other. They're all within about $8. The bills are all within about $8 of each other. So we're in the ballpark with the other agencies.
If I could?
Yeah.
Again, as a footnote, this chart, just like the water chart, this shows our agencies existing and proposed. But it is fair to say that of all those agencies, and some that aren't even on there because they weren't included,
Yeah.
that there's also the possibility, because it's that time of year, right? That some of these rates also might be increasing or so
yeah.
forth in other agencies. So they're probably having hearings
Definitely.
similar to this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a big, yeah, we just took whatever's published today.
Whatever's currently available.
Yeah, whatever's
and-
currently available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
And this is a combined bill. So this is a combined, it's okay. This is a combined water and sewer bill. And so again, looking at a water with a 5/8 inch meter, and then usage of 15 HCF, and then that single family residential rate for the sewer side. So again, we're in the low middle there. You'll see the green one is what a current bill would be, and then the blue bar is with the proposed rate adjustments. Any questions? Yeah.
Well, this chart means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to anybody. It shows that even though we're doing these increases, and our sewer rates aren't as good as we'd like them, we're still in a real good spot in comparison
Yeah.
to what everybody else is doing, so that helps me a lot.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you on the debt. I think we're getting $65 million in new debt. And I know when we did the financial analysis, we're very conservative and we're in a good position to not having too much debt, but this is a 5-year plan. How long is that debt set up for?
So the debt's typically for 30 years.
30 years. We don't do this very often, but do you see us doing that again in another 5 years, doing more bond debt? Is it all based on the ratio of how?
Depends on the needs of what we need in terms of, a lot of this is our planned construction projects.
Right.
I can tell you, during the last rate study, there was also planned debt that we didn't end up issuing because I think just sometimes the length of projects and things like that, they just can move at a slower pace than anticipated. But we want the ability to do it in the event we need it because, like I said, it really does help mediate those revenue increases. And it's a good way to help fund capital.
Right.
Especially when you need a lot at once.
And we've got a lot of that, and we've got a lot of inflation and things like that, but I
Yeah.
just would hate to see us continue to take on more debt.
No, and the last time we issued debt was in 2016,
That's what I thought.
so it was 10 years ago. And so it's not something we take lightly, you know?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I want to footnote what Commissioner Brickley just brought up as a discussion item too, as far as debt and CIP programs, but there's also a degree of this that is virtually out of our control. I mean, during conditions like drought, and we could debate what a drought is, right? Or even during COVID and other issues that come along, even regulatory issues. Not that we're just reacting, but sometimes we need to basically comply with certain requirements, whether it's treatment issues, things of that nature. The CIP stuff is what we've got control over, and I know we're very cautious about, spending those dollars. And I remember, gosh, I don't know how many years ago, where the CIP program was almost anemic. I mean, for whatever reason, we really weren't performing based upon what maybe some of the needs were, and we've seen the reaction from certain conditions that the byproduct of that is we talked about the spillages. Back in the day, the city was reacting, and we were spending a lot more money reacting than we were planning. So I kind of echo, Tom's concerns about debt, because takes time to pay that off. But also, I think sometimes we just have to deal with the reality of the regulatory world too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question.
Sure.
I mean, we have a little less than 500 miles of piping, and I know as far as our maintenance, a lot of that in our sewer is being charged to that. How long does it take us to inspect that piping in our city?
Go for it.
Sorry, it takes on average 5 years to get through all of the sewer system with the CCP TV program.
Thank you.
And some of it's 100 years old.
So and naturally, you'll still be here. Yeah. Okay. Great, Cindy. Are you continuing?
I'm going to continue, yes,
Okay.
Madam President, thank you. So I just wanted to go over the schedule. This is kind of what we've done to date and what the plans are. So in March, we did present the water and wastewater financial plans and the rate design to the board on March 10th. And then we presented the water and wastewater cost of service study results and proposed rates to the board on March 31st. And the draft rate study report was also provided to the board on the 31st. After that was approved, we sent out the Prop 218 notice. That has to be mailed at least 45 days before the hearing, which is today. We did mail that out, and then we held community meetings. So we held our first community meeting was here on April 8th. The second community meeting was at the New Hope Family Life Center, and that was on April 23rd. And then our last one was at Palm Elementary School on May 7th. So May 18th was the last day, so it's the end of the 45-day legal challenge period. That's for customers to provide an actual challenge, like a legal challenge to the proposed rates. So that ended on the 18th, and then today we are having the Prop 218 hearing where we ask the board to approve the proposed rates. And then the rates would be implemented on July 1st of this year.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other questions, commissioners?
That's a great presentation. Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that very much. Okay, let's move on then to our legal counsel, and will you go over the rules of the public hearing, please?
Absolutely. Good morning, President Callicott, members of the board.
Okay.
We're going to be following the requirements of Article 13D, Section 6 of the California Constitution today. That's known more commonly as Proposition 218. Notice of the time, date, and place of a hearing was mailed out to affected property owners and customers in the manner provided by statute more than 45 days ago, as you saw on the schedule slide. The purpose of the public hearing today is for the Water Board to hear and consider all protests and comments concerning the proposed adjustments to water and wastewater service rates. Members of the public are not required to provide oral testimony in order to submit a written protest. Those who wish to file a protest may simply submit a written protest to staff members prior to the conclusion of this public hearing. The law specifies that all protests must be in writing to be counted. Oral protests will be heard, but cannot be counted towards the majority protest. Written protests must specify which rate or charge is being protested and must include the protester's name, parcel number, and/or service address and signature. The hearing will be conducted in the following manner. First, the Water Board will consider all public testimony. Second, all valid written protests will be tallied. If written protests represent a majority of the parcels upon which rates are to be imposed, the Water Board may not impose the rates and charges. Third, if written protests do not represent a majority of the parcels upon which the rates and charges are to be imposed, the Water Board may vote to adopt the proposed rates and charges. That concludes my summary of the hearing rules, President Calicott. I will note I've got my colleague Lutfi Karuf here, who is an expert on Prop 218, should the board have any questions of a legal nature. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, then we will officially open to the public hearing first. I'll ask the general manager to confirm that notice of the hearing was mailed to the affected property owners as required by law.
Yes, Madam President, the official notice known as the Proposition 218 notice was mailed to the affected property owners and all customers directly responsible to the department for payment of the proposed rates.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, this public hearing is for the receipt of public testimony. The board secretary will call all speakers by name, and as you come forward to speak, please identify yourself and your property address for our record. We want to ensure that everyone who wants to speak is heard today. In order to receive all public testimony and give everyone interested a chance to provide their comments in a timely manner, we will use a 3-minute per speaker time limit and hold all board and staff responses until after the public hearing is concluded and members of the public have all had their say. Speakers will be provided with 3 minutes to speak at the podium. They will receive a signal when 1 minute remains and will be notified when their name has elapsed. The board secretary will then call the next speaker to the podium by name. So we will now hear from all of those who have filled out the speaker comment cards. If you have not done so and would like to speak, please see the board secretary to turn in your speaker card. Again, in order to give everyone who wants to speak the opportunity to do so, please limit your comments to the time provided. Responses from staff or board commissioners will take place after all speakers have had the opportunity to give their comments. So, board secretary?
The first speaker will be Yolanda Macias.
Hello.
There. Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First of all, my name is Yolanda Macias, and I think this is a joke. Make this meeting in the morning. Why? Because everybody is working. You send us this, you're supposed to send us with emergency meeting, and you're not even saying nothing in Spanish. Here, this is like a offer anything. This is ridiculous, the way you send this, plus the time you make in this meeting. Everybody is at work. First of all, I'm confused with all numbers and all that, but the thing I will see, and I love your customer service, don't take me wrong, 28% for employees, you have to be lucky we have a job in this kind of economy. It's ridiculous. A lot of people is losing jobs, and you want to raise that 28% to your people? You guys give more of the money. That 29% for whatever process the water, I'm agree with that, but 28% in this kind of economy, this is bad. Not only that, sometimes you don't do the jobs. You spend our money and subcontractors. You pay 3 times more because you don't do the job. You subcontract people. They do a worse job, and when we call to make a complaint, you don't do nothing about it. And don't compare San Bernardino with other cities. Saturday and Sunday, San Bernardino is dead. Thanks why? Because the city doesn't help us to build more houses. First of all, we need to pay almost $20,000 for the water department to open a service, a new service. So all this service is not for free. We pay for it. And somebody mentioned about you having doing a 10 years ago raise. That is lie. First of all, there was the trash and water combined, so there was fine. You guys divided, we still have the same bill plus or another bill for Vertec. Please don't lie, and you have to be honest. With this kind of economy, with no jobs, and you planning to raise the water, give me a break. Please be more decent. And I know you're not lying, but you don't deserve the raise right now, and especially with this economy. Not because you do a bad job. I'm not saying that, because it's no time to doing that. Thank you.
The next speaker is CJ, I'm sorry if I messed this up, Kreichenbaum.
Good morning. I'm CJ Kreichenbaum. I live on 3408 Broadmoor. And I'd like to understand why San Bernardino water rates are currently higher than Redlands and Yucaipa, which I understand use San Bernardino water. Now, I'm not looking for a discount sale here, but I am trying to understand why in this economy we're not seeing efforts to cut costs and make things more reasonable and make San Bernardino a better place to live, not only for its current residents and commercial people, but also for new places. And with that, I would like to understand what kind of cost controls and cost cutting is being done to lower our rates. Certainly at home, I understand that we need to tighten our belts in this economy, make less go further, and why can't we do that as a water board and as a city and still provide excellent service? And then I'm curious as to why commercial rates are lower than our rates. Now, I think there's some variable costs in there, and I'm not pretending I understand all those numbers, but this is a significant, steady increase from now until 2030 or 2031. I don't think that should be acceptable by people, and I'm disappointed that only a handful of us are here to raise that flag. I trust that you can find ways not to raise our rates, not to raise them as high, and to clearly provide good service while doing that. Thank you very much.
That concludes all of the public comments, Madam President. That concludes all of the public comments, Madam President.
And were there any written comments received? Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, so there is no one else. Okay. Well, seeing no others who wish to speak on this matter, then I'm prepared to close the public hearing. Okay. And our general manager, may we have the tabulation of the protest?
Yes, Madam President. We'll say a majority of the identified parcels affected by the proposed water rates would equal a little over 21,500. A majority of the identified parcels affected by the proposed wastewater rates would equal nearly 20,100, just to give you an idea of that 50% threshold. Written protests were submitted regarding the proposed water rates representing 20 represented parcels, identified parcels. Written protests were submitted regarding the proposed wastewater rates representing 20 identified parcels. So we had a total of 20 protests on the water side and 20 on the wastewater side. Every protest we received, a total of 20, addressed both the water and wastewater. So there wasn't a total, there was, just to make that clear.
Okay.
Since a majority of the protests against the proposed water and wastewater rates does not exist, the Water Board may consider the adoption of the proposed resolution to adjust rates.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. Then I'd like to call upon our water commissioners for any discussion or comments that you would have at this time.
Well, is anybody going to respond to Mrs. Macias and the second speaker? Is that what we do now, or no?
Well, I think,
Let Miguel answer that.
I can certainly comment on that, Ms. Macias. Just to clarify one thing, I think the 28% that we saw on the slide that showed the dollar bill, that's 20% is what the cost is for administrative costs, customer service costs. So we're talking about finance, human resources, customer service, engineering. That was just a representation of the percentage of overall cost, not a representation of the increase in cost. So I just want to clarify that. So there is no 28% increase for department staff salaries. That was just, again, a breakdown of the cost to run the water and the wastewater utilities. And then just a little bit of background on the process. So we hired a third-party consulting firm, Raftelis, to conduct the study. I think one thing we want to make clear is that when we work with Raftelis or any consultant, we are heavily involved as staff to make sure that what's being proposed, whether it be with rates, design, any of that, that it makes sense, and we're doing our job to make sure what's being proposed is reasonable. When it comes to rates, the process with Raftelis included Raftelis looking at a revenue requirement, the capital improvement plan, operating costs, inflation factors, and things like that. And they come out at the first cut at it and let us know what the proposed or what is needed to make sure we meet the revenue requirement. And there was a lot of back and forth and work with Raftelis. The initial cut at it saw us looking at double-digit percentage increases annually. It also proposed multiple debt issuances. But we worked closely with Raftelis to make sure that they considered the San Bernardino community and the inflation increases, what we actually do on the capital side, and also what we felt was reasonable but enough to make sure that we remain high-quality water and wastewater utility. And that's where we landed on the single-digit 5 to 6% increases annually. So there is a whole process and consideration for the San Bernardino community.
yeah, I want to say a few things if I could, and then I want to hear from other commissioners as well.
Right behind you.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank the first speaker for the comments that you made this morning. I don't think any of us commissioners, even Mr. Hendricks, we're not new to the community. I think we've all spent quite a number of years in San Bernardino, and we know San Bernardino. I've spent my whole adult life here, and I know others on the board as well have a strong commitment to the community. And serving on the board, I think, is a privilege that we get to do. And I also want to say for the record that the information that we heard today wasn't the first time we've heard this information. With other past rate studies and other requirements that we have to do on a regular basis, whether it's an urban water management plan. Again, these regulations that come to us from higher authorities and tell us this is what you need to do if you're going to operate a water wastewater department. So when we deal with circumstances like this, even the charts that they put up there, and you're right, whether we're in the middle of the chart, at the top of the chart, or the bottom of the chart, for me it's really irrelevant. I mean, it's numbers, and that's what we have to deal with. We have to deal with numbers. But each of those communities, even the ones at the high end, and I know these communities well, they also have percentages of disadvantaged neighborhoods within their community. So there's people even in Loma Linda, Rancho Cucamonga, whatever, Ontario, that get impacted by the cost of everyday life. And, part of government's job is to provide service. In fact, I think that's our primary job. We're not the government. We're just a board that gets to sit here and work with staff. So I do believe that, and like the lady who spoke about the senior discounts. I think these things are always important for us to take into consideration at the appropriate time, and I hope our general manager and staff does follow up with looking at those types of programs, whether it's income related, age related, or otherwise. The other thing I also want to say is I think we have a responsibility to the community, and we all know San Bernardino has seen better days, and part of our responsibility is to make sure to kind of boost up and promote as much economic growth and development for the community as we can. And part of that responsibility means being able to deliver reliable resources for new construction and development. That's what's going to help bring this city, I think, along and be able to provide economic growth. You know, it's the sales tax and the other revenues that other communities get to enjoy that help offset certain costs and provide jobs and things of that nature. So it's a real, I mean, I'll say it, we're in a real interesting situation in our community. But that doesn't mean that we stick our heads in the sand. It doesn't mean that we don't make decisions that I think are beneficial in the long run. As I said, the city, at one point in time, I remember, gosh, I don't know how much money was being spent just putting Band-Aids on sewage spills. And we've heard water quality issues as well in other communities and what the cost of that is. So one way or the other, there's a cost. And I'm just glad that this board, at least since I've been on it, has been forward-thinking. We partner up with agencies like, you know, my good friend here from Valley District, who's one of our retailers and supports us. And that's the other thing, too. We have partners in our region that are bigger than us and smaller than us that we partner with and we collaborate with. And everything from water recharging and other projects to try to bring about, you know, better services. So I just want to footnote that we're not taking any of this as a rubber stamp or not considering what this means to certain portions of the community, regardless of income or race or anything like that. I would like to ask Miguel, were these notices put out? Were they bilingual? Because as you know, we have a very large population of Latina families, and I believe we did a proper job of getting that message out. Oh, I think we have too many.
So the full notice itself that was mailed out is in English, but there is Spanish in there directing our customers, community, on how they can access the Spanish version, whether it be on our webpage or if they would like it to be mailed.
Of course, quite a few people don't go on a webpage, you know, so do we have other means of communication?
In the actual Prop 218 notice, right up front, it says in Spanish, información importante sobre sus tarifas. It's saying that there's important information about your rates, right up front. And as you open it, also right up front, it says that there are proposed changes to the rates. And as you continue, the whole first section of it, half of it, provides a paragraph in Spanish on what's being proposed, what this notice is, and then it also gives you information, a phone number, should you want a physical copy mailed to you, or would you, if you'd like to stop by customer service, and it also gives you the web page to access the Spanish version as well. We did not mail full Spanish versions to the entire community.
I understand. Do we get phone calls from that information?
You know, I didn't, from customer service, I did not get a word that we had a request for the Spanish version of this notice.
We have customer service people that has the ability to speak to to many of our residents then.
Of course, one of the things we do when we do anything like this is inform customer service and give them all the information they need
Yeah.
to be able to answer any questions that might come up, either in Spanish or English.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to close my comments with response to that speaker's issue as well, that, we're having this hearing at 9:30 in the morning, and you're right. There are people out there that are working. And again, I spend my life testifying at different public hearings. I don't always agree with the time. The Board of Supervisor meets at 10 o'clock every other Tuesday. They're a multi-billion-dollar agency, and their meetings last about, and don't get me wrong, I respect the Board of Supervisors, but they conduct business. They go through the agenda rather quickly, and which I appreciate because they are there doing the people's work. But yeah, whether it's at 10 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night, people need to figure out a way to communicate. I do know we had a few community outreach meetings. We also briefed the mayor and council, city council that represents all 7 wards throughout this city. It is an election year, by the way, so I know the council members are out there, both the ones incumbent and the ones running for those seats, communicating with their constituents. So I feel satisfied that, at least with regard to how these hearings go, that we've tried to do our best at reaching out, and we've sent the message out as best we can. And I know some people are limited with resources. They're not computer literate, or they don't have access to emails, things of that nature. But, I just appreciate the fact that you're here and that you are representing, the community. And at least for me, I didn't take any of this for granted, and I didn't take your words as being impractical or anything but honest. So I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else?
Sure. David took up a lot of my minutes in his talking, so I'm gonna be brief. We've held meetings in the evening where people can come out and share their thoughts and opinions of the proposal and the increases and things of that nature. So it's time-wise, it's hard to accommodate everybody all the time. We've talked about our capital improvement plan, and in the water department, other than what you see coming out the faucet, you drive around the city of San Bernardino, you see the challenges, but in our department, most of our challenges are underground. So you don't see what we have to go through. I asked a question about, the mileage, 500 miles, how we inspect them. We received that in 2017, so therefore we do it 5 years. We still got 5 more years we have to go through that we haven't seen the challenges that we're facing, far as our sewer department. I don't take this lightly because, I'm a senior citizen on a fixed income as well. I don't like to pay more money than I would have to. I got 5 generations living in this city, and I don't like to see them to pay out more than they have to as well. But I understand the challenges of delivering a service and looking toward the future to make sure that we can keep the costs as low as we can for the customers that we serve. So I really thank the staff, because I think we have a staff that does a very good job of looking at the day-to-day as well as into the future, and to mitigate the expenses to the customers that we provide the services to. So really, that's all I have to say. And paying more money is never never a good thing. Never, as far as our pocketbooks. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
You have anything, sir?
I just want the speakers to know, as commissioners, we're not rubber stampers. we challenge this staff as to why we're having to be charged what we charge, why we're using subs, not doing things in-house. They always have a good answer, and it's not, we're not flim-flam by it. None of us wanted these increases, but I don't like any of the increases I've had or you've had in the last 2 years. It's been astronomical. 250 plus employees, we're not going to be able to keep these employees if we don't raise their rates. These folks are all professionals that are receiving notices all the time to come to other water departments. We're certainly not anywhere near the highest, but this was a big year, a big hit for employees to get the increases that they're due. So like we do in our households, we just say, no, we're not going to do it. You can't do that here. This is a really well-ran department, and we're not rubber stampers. They put things out to bid. If the bids don't come back within the range they want them, or they're unresponsive, they put it back out to bid again, or we shelve the project. It's just, inflation's outrageous. It affects us all, and it's really affected our rates this year, and that's why they're so high. And I want to assure you, we're not just saying yes because some consultant came along and said, here's what you need to do to get by. And I reiterate what my other commissioners said. Thank you.
No, I think we have such wonderful commissioners. I'd like to thank all of you for your comments. But most importantly, though, I'd like to thank this wonderful staff. And, you know, I've been in this town for 55 years in healthcare delivery, and I know what we go through in hospitals to make things work. But you guys just make it so simple. And thank you, and you too, and you come to work with this great big heart, and we see that every time we have a meeting. It's just really very, very rewarding to me. So I want this community to know that this whole water department is a very serious situation, and we look at it daily, and we analyze it daily, and we talk about it, and we thank our employees because we have a wonderful group of people, and I've never seen an organization like this love their people as much as you do, and it's very, very evident. So what we try to do is deliver the lowest cost service that we possibly can, and we work at that. And I can tell you one thing, that to the people that are here, the staff doesn't get away with anything when they bring their proposals to these people who are all outstanding business people and running their own businesses, and they understand the value of a dollar, and it's and we take that very seriously. So I thank you all for what you've had to say today, and I thank our board too for your consistency in helping and working with the people of San Bernardino. So anyway, do we have any other comments from you? No? No? Okay. Well, then I'd like to call upon the board to either approve these adjustments or not. Is there?
You're wanting a motion to approve the
Yep,
rate increase?
I do.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Motion's been made. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Let's have a roll call, Amy.
President Callicott,
Approve.
Commissioner Milnarski,
Approve.
Commissioner Johnson,
Approve.
Commissioner Brickley.
Approve.
Motion carries 4-0.
Very good, very good. And we'd like to thank all of you for your participation today, and we consider, as you know, your input extremely carefully as we make these very, very difficult decisions to provide the service that we do today. So, and we thank you for taking time to come. That really means a lot to us. So we'll move on then to our reports. Commissioners, anything you'd like to report?
No comment.
Do we have a motion in here?
Pardon me?
Is there another motion?
We already did.
You've covered both motions.
Commissioners, anything?
No, ma'am.
Anything else? All right. So our directors, anything?
Nothing for me, Madam President.
Okay,
Nothing for me, Madam President. Thank you.
okay. Cynthia,
Nothing for me.
anything?
Nothing for me, Madam President.
Anything more, Cynthia?
No.
Okay. Robin, anything?
No, Madam President, nothing. Thank you.
Okay. Miguel, anything?
Just one quick item.
Okay.
The department received an award of distinction for its history book that was recently completed as part of the 120-year anniversary, and this award came from the California Public Information Officials Organization, CAPIO. So just we got a nice award for that, and I don't think we have it here today, but we'll make sure we bring it next time.
Okay. That's it. All right. Okay.
Mr.
Yes,
General
sir.
Manager, I know that I saw you guys in the paper receiving a check from Congressman Pete Aguilar.
Actually, that's another, I should have mentioned that as well. We did, along with the city, we were awarded a $1.1 million grant through the Congressman's office, Congressman Aguilar, so we thank him for that. And that is for 2 emergency generators, permanent emergency generators at some of our more critical sites in the foothills. And what that'll help with is, as we deal with power shutoffs during high winds or wildfire season, that'll keep these pump stations, booster stations operational. And that allows us to move water up and maintain reservoir levels and maintain water pressure in these critical areas. So many thanks to Congressman Aguilar. This is the one of several that he's helped the city and this community with when it comes to community grants.
No, I think that point is extremely valuable, and I wish we had gotten a little more media on that, because the community needs to know how wonderful that Congressman Aguilar is, and that was a major coup for us. So it just helps us be prepared for the things that we don't want to be prepared for, like fire. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do we have anything else to come before us? No? Anything?
No closed session. No.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then thank you very much for everyone attention here today and attendance. And we are officially adjourned.